Hi, this Hyperlocal Bible is almost like if you're IT illiterate like me, a bloke around the corner. Now, it can apply to your car. If I have a problem with my car, I go to Wintry Motors up in Bush Fair here. Likewise, sometimes I'm a really annoying. I've got an IT problem, really obvious. There's a man you can sort of ask a favour of around the corner. And just with, if you're not proficient IT, you're just and your website, etc. So I'm here with Zulka Chima, and Zulka. You've worked on, and you're looking at me by the way. You've worked on websites a long time. Are they websites, for example, like WordPress? Are they getting any easier, or are they even trickier?
They are easy, they're like Lego, but the thing is, as soon as you've got lots of blocks in there, then they start becoming very complicated because they interact with each other, and if you don't know what one does to the other one, then you can get a bit lost. Our site, it was made by someone else. He obviously knew what he was doing when he built it. When I look at it, I've got no idea what he was thinking and how he put things together. So I've got to figure that out, get it back together again. So it's a lot of research online, a lot of websites to look at, and also it's feedback from people who use it as to what is and what isn't happening and what they would like.
I guess you're people like me, even though I've been running, two websites for nearly 10 years, I'm still. I mentioned we just had a thing recently just now about the advert that keeps cropping up, and then you mentioned Yoast. But still, I sort of think, oh, if I had loads, could I break my website? There's still a...
Some plugins can. Yoast,
right.
I'm assuming, is a good one because most people recommend it. But if you're going to do something like that, you need to do a backup just to be sure, so that you can at least get back to where you was if it all goes belly up. And that's essential with anything that you do. As you know, with your documents, your paperwork, my video stuff, first thing I have to do is make a backup.
And is that, again, to somebody who might just be starting and think about running an online newspaper or a website, is that a hard thing to do?
It isn't. You can either do it what they call the back end behind the site, which is in the CP panel, it's known as, and you can go in there and say create a backup of my site. But you've got to be wary, there's a couple of different types of backups. One backup will do a complete backup. You can move the site to a different location, and that backup may not allow you to restore in the one you've got because it's formatted different. You can also have a plugin called Updraft Plus, and there's a few others, which does automated backups that you set as you go along. And then you can download those or send them to a third location so they're out the way, and then install them again if it all goes belly up.
I forgot my dog put me off. And things like servers, I don't know how much you know about servers, become some people say they spend £200 a month on servers, and some people say they pay £20 a month, and they're both still getting a sort of same audience. So it must be quite. If somebody's starting an online news, how do they choose the right server? Is that an area you know much about? Or?
Not too familiar with servers. There's obviously suppliers out there that will say unlimited storage. Bandwidth is usually the issue. So the more bandwidth you've got, the more data you can send in and out. But the main difference between a fast server and a standard server is most servers that you've probably got are shared with other people. So they're all on one computer. And as people log in, they log in to different sites, but it's all on the same machine. So unless it's really fast, it will become sluggish. Whereas if you've got a big site, like the BBC or some of those, they'll have their own dedicated server. So the speed can be optimum and their own dedicated link. But if it's for local news that you're doing, then those servers should be able to handle it. If you can get a local one rather than a distant one, then the times it takes to get there and back for requests should be quicker and to appear better.
Do you think, again, we're just bouncing these questions around, but things like Facebook, do you think websites should be too wary about also being too reliant on Facebook and having all their information on Facebook, or is it just simply there, it's there, use it to an advantage?
I'm not understanding the question.
I guess for example, a lot of news websites will almost the Facebook will become their front door of their site, that people come through Facebook first as opposed to looking at the site first. Is there any danger in that?
No, I don't think so. I mean, it's nice if they can come to your site, because if you've got adverts on there, which helps keep the site running, then you want to try and bring them over. So some little teasers and stuff that can bring them over, or a blog that they can respond to, rather than put it into Facebook, put it onto the site. That would help them come across, or just have a link that says, or have your own presence on Facebook.
So finally, Are you learning all the time about websites and indeed social media or something?
I am, yeah, it
Yeah.
never stops. They're always updating, as you know, just when you think you've got it cracked, they come along with a new version. So I've been using, like you have WordPress, but I've now started to look at network WordPress or multi WordPress, so sites within sites, so that you could have the main group with your Thurrock and Essex or Harlow within subdomains within that. But I'm looking at how I can make sure that the information I've got on the database is shared between all of them. I mean, you can have it so they're independent, which is how it is. But if I've got a members group, and then I've got another site which is find my member somewhere, and they're looking for a specific person. The site itself is for people who use it, who want to gain knowledge, talk to each other, and the other site is for consumers who are looking for someone who can do their work for them. But I need to have the same data on both sides, so the same name, location, their address, rather than them inputting it in twice. So at the moment I'm going through a learning curve of how I can do that, if at all, on WordPress.